Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, coming up in the next hour. Security situation deteriorates in Syria. Rebel forces take control of most of Aleppo, even as Russia launches airstrikes. Death toll in fighting reaches 300. Volodymyr Zelenskyy expresses willingness for a negotiated peace, seeks NATO membership for Ukraine while allowing Russia to keep the captured territory. Sectarian violence continues to haunt Pakistan with fresh clashes in Kurram district of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Death toll reaches 124. Cyclone Fengal makes landfall, likely to cross North Tamil Nadu Puducherry coast in the next few hours. Heavy rains and gusty winds reported. And World Chess Championship between India's D. Gukesh and China's Ding Liren tied at 2.5 each after Game 5 also ends in a draw. Syria in West Asia appears to be volatile with worsening of the security situation there. Rebel forces have taken control over most parts of Aleppo, even as Russia launched airstrikes. The death toll in the fighting has crossed 300. The next report examines the fast evolving developments in Syria in greater detail, as well as tells us about how this conflict unfolded in the broad historical trajectory.
The situation in Syria appears to be in a very volatile state. Rebel forces in Syria have taken control of most of the country's second largest city, Aleppo. This is according to the UK-based monitoring group Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, SOHR. The SOHR reports that over 300 people, including more than 20 civilians, have been killed since the offensive started on Wednesday. Meanwhile, the Syrian military said that dozens of its troops had been killed during an insurgent attack in northwestern Syria and that rebels had managed to enter large parts of Aleppo city, forcing the army to redeploy. The Syrian military statement was the first public acknowledgement by the army that insurgents led by the Islamist Hayat Tahrir al-Sham had entered the government-held city of Aleppo in a surprise attack that began earlier this week. This was the first such attack by rebels in 8 years. On Friday, Russia had urged the Syrian government to restore constitutional order in the Aleppo region as soon as possible. However, seeing the situation worsen, Russia launched airstrikes in parts of Aleppo overnight on Saturday. So let's try to understand this conflict. The Kurdish-dominated Syrian Defense Forces controls most of northeastern Syria. It regularly clashes with Arab tribes that accuse the group of discrimination. Turkey and its proxies also control areas along the northern border and have ramped up attacks on Kurdish forces. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad now controls about 70% of Syria's territory. Turkish troops have been involved in ground operations against the Islamic State since 2016 and have launched attacks against armed Kurdish groups in Syria. When the civil war began in 2011, there were 4 main factions of fighting groups throughout the country. They are Kurdish forces, ISIS, other oppositions such as Jaish al-Fatah and the Assad regime. The ongoing violence against civilians has been condemned by the Arab League, the European Union, the United States and other countries. Nearly 5.5 million Syrian refugees live in the 5 countries neighboring Syria: Turkey, Lebanon, Jordan, Iraq and Egypt. Germany is the largest non-neighboring host country with more than 850,000 Syrian refugees. Over the years, the conflict has evolved into a complex war involving jihadists and foreign powers. While the Syrian army has regained control of most of the territory it lost earlier in the war, the area where jihadists and their allies are based has been under a truce since 2020. Bureau Report, DD India.
Moving on, amid intensified peace efforts, Israel struck Hezbollah's smuggling infrastructure along the Syria-Lebanon border, claiming it violated the ceasefire. As the Hamas delegation arrived in Cairo for talks on possible Gaza ceasefire, U.S. officials and Senator Lindsey Graham stressed the urgency of securing a hostage deal before January. Meanwhile, thousands of Israelis rallied, demanding the release of their loved ones held hostage in Gaza.
Amid renewed effort to end the war in West Asia, the Israeli military struck military infrastructure along the Syria-Lebanon border on Saturday that was being used by Hezbollah for weapons smuggling in violation of the ceasefire agreement. The IDF stated that the smuggling occurred after the ceasefire agreement had gone into effect. The IDF also said it carried out a strike against a car in the southern Gaza Strip earlier on Saturday, targeting a terrorist who had participated in the October 7 onslaught. However, Palestinian media reported that the individual in the car was one of 3 local aid workers with World Central Kitchen. Peace process for Gaza is set to resume as a Hamas delegation arrived in Cairo for talks with Egyptian officials on a possible ceasefire in Gaza. The visit comes days after the United States said it would begin new efforts with Qatar, Egypt and Turkey to revive Gaza's ceasefire talks. U.S. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, who was in Israel this week, informed that the President-elect Donald Trump wants to see a Gaza hostage ceasefire deal before he re-enters the White House in January.
The ceasefire in Lebanon is a good thing, in my view. It will give the people in Lebanon some breathing room, and it will ensure that there will be no October 7th generated from that border against Israel. Compromise is always difficult, but I think the ceasefire was the right decision.
Meanwhile, thousands of Israelis rallied across the country seeking release of their kith and kin who are still held captive in Gaza. Rabindra Chauhan's report for DD India.
On to another conflict. Russia-Ukraine conflict appears to be oscillating between war and peace. After serious escalations in the past few days with the use of advanced weapons, President Zelenskyy appears to be considering a ceasefire. But there's a condition. He demands NATO membership for Ukraine and he is willing to cede captured territories to Russia, at least for now.
In a new sign of willingness for negotiated peace, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said in an interview on Friday that offering Ukraine NATO membership while allowing Russia to keep for the moment territory it had captured could be a solution to end the 33-month-old war. Zelenskyy says, "No one has offered us to be in NATO for one part or another part of Ukraine. The fact is, it is a solution to stop the hot stage of the war. Because we can just give NATO membership to the part of Ukraine that is under our control. But the invitation must be given to Ukraine within its internationally recognized borders. You can't give an invitation to just one part of a country." Meanwhile, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andrei Sybiha has urged his NATO counterparts to issue an invitation to Kyiv at a meeting in Brussels next week to join the Western military alliance. Ukraine says it accepts that it cannot join the alliance until the war is over, but extending an invitation now would show Russian President Vladimir Putin that he could not achieve one of his main goals, preventing Kyiv from becoming a NATO member. Ukrainian Foreign Minister clarifies this invitation should not be seen as an escalation. Although in principle, NATO maintains that Ukraine will join the alliance. However, NATO diplomats say there is no consensus among alliance members to invite Ukraine at this stage. Any such decision would require the consent of all NATO's 32 member countries. This seems rather unlikely as member states await the Ukraine policy of the United States, the alliance's dominant power, under the incoming administration of President-elect Donald Trump. Earlier, French President Emmanuel Macron reaffirmed his support for Ukraine and reiterated his condemnation of an escalation in Russia's attacks against the country in a phone call with Ukraine President Zelenskyy. Bureau Report, DD India.
The spectre of sectarian violence continues to haunt Pakistan with fresh clashes in Kurram district of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, leaving a trail of death and despair. Despite repeated attempts at ceasefire, peace remains elusive in the region. Here's a report by Mihir Maikuri on the unfolding tragedy.
The simmering cauldron of sectarian violence in northwest Pakistan has claimed 13 more lives. Sunnis and Shiites in Kurram district are locked in deadly feuding that has now surged the death toll to 124, with over 50 others wounded. Despite 2 attempted ceasefires in the past week, fighting continues unabated. Tensions escalated last Thursday when convoys of Shiite Muslims traveling with police protection were ambushed. The attacks, which killed over 40, reignited decades-old sectarian tensions in the Sunni-majority nation of Pakistan, where Kurram stands out with its significant Shiite population. 10 days of relentless violence have paralyzed the region. Roads remain blocked and mobile networks are down, adding to the chaos. Local authorities confirm that mistrust between Sunni and Shiite tribes has thwarted efforts to enforce ceasefires. Security forces have struggled to control the violence, while fears of further fatalities loom large. On the other hand, those who wish to flee remain trapped by the deteriorating security situation. The Human Rights Commission of Pakistan reports nearly 80 sectarian deaths in the district from July to October alone, highlighting a chronic failure to address the underlying causes. The tragedy in Kurram reflects a broader challenge for Pakistan, a nation grappling with sectarian rifts, weak governance, and unfulfilled promises of peace. As violence continues to claim innocent lives, the question remains, how many more must suffer before lasting solutions are found? Mihir Maikuri, reporting for DD India.
Bangladesh's Foreign Affairs Advisor Mohammad Tawheed Hossain expressed optimism about maintaining good relations with India while maintaining bilateral relations. He acknowledged a shift in relations since August 5th and highlighted the importance of a national consensus on foreign policy. Speaking at a roundtable conference titled Bangladesh-India Relations, Expectations, Barriers and Future in Dhaka, Mohammad Hossain said, "We want to remain optimistic that we would be able to maintain good relations with India, making sure that bilateral interests are protected. There is a change in relations after August 5th. This is reality." Still to come on DD India NewsHour. US approves over $380 million arms sale to Taiwan. Serbia has nothing to do with explosion in Kosovo, says President Vučić.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Let's take a look at some weather updates as they're coming in on Cyclone Fengal. Cyclonic storm Fengal continues to wreak havoc across Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, with the India Met Department predicting it will cross the coast between Karaikal and Mahabalipuram near Puducherry, bringing wind speed of up to 70 to 80 kilometers per hour. Its forward sector has already made landfall, unleashing heavy rains that have caused severe waterlogging and disrupted transportation across Chennai and nearby areas. Chennai airport remains shut until 4 a.m. Indian time on Sunday, with at least 55 flights cancelled, while suburban train services between Chennai Beach and Velachery are suspended due to strong winds. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin reviewed relief measures at the Disaster Management Control Room in Chennai. IMD has issued red alert for heavy rains in districts including Chengalpattu, Kanchipuram, Vellore and Puducherry, urging residents to stay vigilant and adhere to official advisory. And DD India correspondent Anbarasan is joining us live from Salem, Tamil Nadu. Anbarasan, what details can you share with us on the intensity and the impact of Cyclone Fengal landfall?
As we know that the Cyclone Fengal is coming towards nearing the coast of Tamil Nadu. The latest update from the Indian Meteorological Department has said that right now the Cyclone Fengal is nearly around 60 kilometer distant from Chennai and also Puducherry. It will reach nearly entire today night, and also it will cross over the interior districts of Tamil Nadu on morning. So we expect a heavy rainfall, and they given around 11 district red alert. So all the interior district, particularly Villupuram, Chengalpattu, Kadalur, all districts are in full alert. And the state administration and also central NDRF and SDRF all are in full swing, particularly low-lying areas of Chennai where they established relief centers. Around 35,000 people are they can accommodate in that. And more on that, particularly the transportation disruption, particularly in Chennai city, the various local suburban trains are cancelled, and the express train, which is coming towards inbound to the Chennai Central Station, all are stopped at the borders of Chennai district. And also the airport, particularly the airport service is totally shut down. Due to that, the waterlogging in the runways, particularly the Adiyaru River, where it flows below the runway of Chennai Airport, is totally shut down. So due to that, all the inbound and also flight services are cancelled. So we can talk with the airport authority officials, and they said that after the evaluation of tomorrow morning, then they will be reconsidering of the reopening the airport services and flight services in tomorrow. And this is regarding that. Yeah.
Right. Anbarasan, could you also give us some update on the number of people affected by this cyclone and the preparedness by the administration to safeguard life and property in the region?
There is one electrocution event in Chennai. Other than that, there is no significant, and particularly people are low-lying area of Chennai are more affected, and particularly the Velachery, near the where the lakes are there, the water level is increased. So the low-lying area of Velachery and various surrounding places of Chennai have been shifted to the nearby relief camps. And also the Chief Minister M.K. Stalin also reviewed the situation today in the relief centers, and also went to the emergency center in Chennai and said that he will be giving up, the state government will be giving up, provide food to people in free via Amma Canteen, which is established by the Tamil Nadu government. So this is a situation, and also the nearby districts of Tamil Nadu, particularly the Kadalur, Villupuram and Puducherry nearby, where the high point of cyclone is going to reach. There the district administration given a various alert to the people via SMS to whoever is staying in the low-lying area of near lake areas and also river, they can reach the higher and relief centers, so they can safeguard. And they also given alert for the electrocution. So some parts of city are electrocution, means electricity service are stopped. So people are little bit, the normalcy has been affected by all this measurement. But as
Anbarasan, thank you for joining us with those updates. Stay safe. Anbarasan, DD India correspondent, giving us update on the cyclone and its impact. Moving on, Vice President of India, Jagdeep Dhankar, addressed the special session of Arunachal Pradesh Legislative Assembly in Itanagar on Saturday. Vice President vouched the northeast region of India as the depiction of bountiful nature, tribal culture, Himalayan peaks and ancient monasteries, naming the northeast as a paradise for tourists. Vice President said that India's guiding principle has to emanate from the preamble of the Indian Constitution, calling it a great unifying force.
Northeast captured imagination in particular in 90s, when there was formulation of a policy look east. Honorable Prime Minister took it to the next level, the more functional level. It is bountifully gifted by nature. Tribal culture, soothing people, their connectivity, crystal lakes, and they mirror what? Himalayan peaks to ancient monasteries, hemming with timeless chants. And I would say this place is a paradise for tourists.
India becomes home to world's largest track slab manufacturer, producing complex track maintenance machine for bullet trains. In the city of Vadodara, India caters state-of-the-art track slabs for bullet trains developed as per Japanese standards and technology. India's Union Railway Minister Ashwani Vaishnav inspected the project manufacturing factory in the Kim village near Vadodara. The Prasar factory, established in 2019, is now developed to become the largest manufacturer of track maintenance machines with skilled labourer, developed infrastructure. India is at the forefront with its vision of Make in India.
Highly specialized factory बनाई गई है ट्रैक के स्लैब के लिए। ये स्लैब जापानीज स्टैंडर्ड से बनते हैं, जापान की जो टेक्नोलॉजी उसके हिसाब से बनते हैं और एकदम प्रिसीजन इसमें सारा मेजरमेंट होता है। अपने देश की सबसे बड़ी ट्रैक स्लैब फैक्ट्री और आज की तारीख में दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी ट्रैक स्लैब फैक्ट्रीज में से एक ये फैक्ट्री है। जितने इक्विपमेंट आए हैं शुरू में जापान से आए थे, उसके बाद में भारत में ही इक्विपमेंट बनने चालू हो गए। तो इसका एक अच्छा देश में आने वाले समय में जो कंस्ट्रक्शन के प्रोजेक्ट्स होंगे उसमें भी इस प्रोजेक्ट के अनुभव का लाभ मिलेगा।
India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar was the chief guest at a book launch event in New Delhi. The book, titled Tipu Sultan, The Saga of Mysore's Interregnum 1761 to 1799, has been written by Dr. Vikram Sampath. On this occasion, Chief Guest S. Jaishankar highlighted the historical significance of Mysore's legacy. Special guest Pawan K. Varma, a noted author and diplomat, added enriching perspectives. The book promises to delve deep into Tipu Sultan's intriguing era. India's Ministry of Defence inked a contract worth rupees 12.07 crore with Cochin Shipyard Limited on Saturday. The project will cater short refit and dry docking of Indian naval ship Vikramaditya. This project is an important step towards development of Cochin Shipyard Limited as maintenance, repair and overall hub for supporting the industrial ecosystem. The US State Department has approved the potential sale of spare parts for F-16 jets and radars to Taiwan for an estimated $385 million, the Pentagon informed on Friday, a day before Taiwan President Lai Ching-te started a sensitive Pacific trip. The United States is bound by law to provide Taiwan with the means to defend itself, despite the lack of formal diplomatic ties between Washington and Taipei. To the constant anger of Beijing, China has been stepping up military pressure against Taiwan, including 2 rounds of war games this year, and security sources inform that Beijing may hold more to coincide with Lai's tour of the Pacific, which includes stopovers in Hawaii and Guam. That's a US territory. Pentagon's Defense Security Cooperation Agency says the sale comprises $320 million in spare parts and support for F-16 fighters and active electronically scanned array radars and related equipment. According to the Pentagon, the State Department also approved the potential sale to Taiwan of improved mobile subscriber equipment and support for an estimated $65 million. Last month, the US announced a potential $2 billion arms sale package to Taiwan, including the delivery for the first time to the island of an advanced air defense missile system battle-tested in Ukraine. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un met Russia's defense minister Andrei Belousov in Pyongyang on Saturday. During the meeting, Kim said Ukraine's use of long-range weapons is the result of direct military intervention by the United States. Moscow is entitled to fight in self-defense. Kim vowed to strengthen military ties with Russia in line with the strategic partnership signed with President Putin in June, which includes a mutual defense agreement. The two nations have significantly boosted relations, with North Korea reportedly supplying ammunition and military equipment to Russia. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić has said on Saturday that Belgrade had nothing to do with explosions in Kosovo that damaged canal-feeding country's main power plants.
Serbia has nothing to do with what happened on the Ibar Lepnak. To say, we could have done that and to turn the river upside down for them, no terrorism was needed. Do I need to justify myself to anyone? Of course, they know that we didn't do that. Why should I justify myself to chase around global media to apologize for something I didn't do? Because they will anyway interpret it however they want.
Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. Argentines living with HIV/AIDS fear that spending cuts under President Javier Milei are hurting treatment of the illness and could lead to more cases. The budget for free HIV/AIDS treatment, where Argentina is a regional pioneer, fell 67% in real terms in 2024 and is set to fall 46% in 2025. The custodian of the Holy Land launched the Advent season for Christmas on Saturday for the Church of the Nativity in West Bank's Bethlehem. However, church leaders in Holy Land decided this year that because of the ongoing war, Christmas will only be marked by religious rituals with no festivities or tree. Chinese and Russian air forces completed the second phase of 9th Joint Strategic Aerial Patrol in the Western Pacific airspace on Saturday. The patrol was carried out as part of the two armies' annual cooperation plan, with the goal of enhancing the joint training and operating capabilities between the two air forces. And still to come on DD India NewsHour. Zelenskyy again presents Ukraine peace plan. We'll decode with expert what does this plan mean.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked, we just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Our top stories. Security situation deteriorates in Syria. Rebel forces take control of most parts of Aleppo, even as Russia launches airstrikes. Death toll crosses 300. Sectarian violence continues to haunt Pakistan with fresh clashes in Kurram district of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Death toll reaches 124. Cyclone Fengal makes landfall, likely to cross North Tamil Nadu, Puducherry coast in the next few hours. Heavy rains and gusty winds reported. We now return to our top story of Ukrainian President Zelensky's peace plan. Joining me is an eminent guest, Ambassador Mohan Kumar, former senior diplomat. Good evening and welcome, sir. Your thoughts on the peace plan that has come in. While Zelensky agrees to cede territories to Russia, how realistic are the expectations of the recognition of the membership of NATO that he's seeking?
So thank you very much for having me. I'll come to NATO in a minute, but I think the statement made by President of Ukraine, Zelenskyy, needs to be seen against the backdrop of the imminent assumption of the presidential office by Trump in the United States.
Right.
Second, the fact that Ukraine is losing on the battleground. And third, I think he is preparing the ground by showing some flexibility. It cannot be denied that Zelenskyy has shown flexibility by saying for the first time ever that he will not recuperate the territories from Russia and those territories can be kept by Russia, but that he will then regain it through a diplomatic solution over the long term. So that is the first point I'd like to make. The second point I'd like to make with regard to your point about NATO, very briefly, this is dead on arrival because Putin has invaded Ukraine precisely to forestall the possibility of Ukraine joining NATO. So there is no way this is going to fly, and I think this is kite flying on the part of Zelenskyy just to muddy the waters, but there is absolutely no way in which this proposal will be acceptable to Russia, especially now that it is winning the battle.
And so where do you see NATO positioned in this conflict now? It says there is no consensus for Ukraine's immediate membership, but also, as you mentioned, the great deal of uncertainty that comes in with the upcoming presidency of President-elect Donald Trump in the US. Where does this grouping stand as we speak?
I think NATO will be frankly more concerned about its own existence over the medium to long term. I mean, one has only to look at the article penned by Lieutenant General Kellogg, who's now the special envoy for Ukraine appointed by Trump. And he wrote this article in April of 2024, that is this year. He makes it abundantly clear that US must propose to Putin that Ukraine cannot be joining NATO and the membership of Ukraine to NATO will be put off. There is yet another report in an American paper which says that while Trump will not remove the US or withdraw the US from NATO, he will certainly do two things. One, get the NATO members to pay more so that they can fulfill the 2% of the GDP yardstick that has been kept by NATO. Secondly, while he will be willing to maintain the nuclear umbrella of NATO over Europe, I think it is now clear that America is not going to put boots on the ground. They are not going to be able to provide in an indefinite period shells and artillery and so on. Those things will have to be done by the Europeans themselves. So there is going to be a complete reorientation of NATO under Trump. And I think the Europeans know it, and the Europeans, some of them may welcome it, others will simply have to accept it as a fait accompli.
Ambassador Kumar, in the past few days, we've seen new escalations in this conflict with Ukraine using, for a brief while, US and West supplied long-range weapons. And President Putin also presents his revised nuclear doctrine. And then today we're talking about the new peace plan. This flip-flop that we're looking at this stage. How would Russia, President Putin, be looking at these developments?
No, that shouldn't surprise you. What happens is, before the actual negotiations commence, and it is clear to everybody that negotiations will happen beginning of next year, and this is something that has been accepted implicitly by both Putin and Zelenskyy, each side wants to make a last-ditch effort on the battleground to occupy the moral advantage or the serious advantage so that they can then negotiate with the other party from a position of strength. That is what Russia and Ukraine are doing, but it should be clear to anybody that it is Russia which is winning the battle, not Ukraine. Ukraine can blame it on lack of weaponry, etc. But the fact is, Ukraine really upped the ante by using the anti-tank missiles which have been provided by the United States. And what Russia has done is quite remarkable. These hypersonic missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, can actually hit anywhere in Europe. And they have proved this by test firing this missile to hit a target in Ukraine. But this is clear escalation before Trump occupies the presidency. So I see it as brinkmanship, but I think what we have to be vigilant is that brinkmanship can very easily lead to something like a World War III. I don't want to exaggerate the possibility of it, but I think we should be vigilant. Right now, it is brinkmanship by both sides to have the upper hand when negotiations start next year.
And just to add to that, Ambassador, NATO, we understand, has been heavily invested into this conflict without being a direct party to it. But is it also now approaching, analyzing this conflict almost independent of Ukraine? The German Chancellor speaking to President Putin directly, even while Ukrainian President saying it is like opening a Pandora's box, a case in point.
You are absolutely spot on. I think there is a lot of introspection in the major European powers. There is a lot of introspection on NATO's own part. And as I said earlier, NATO will be interested in its own self-preservation. And if it means it has to sacrifice Ukraine in the process, it will willingly do it. I have absolutely no doubt that NATO wants to preserve its own position, and they will then have to make the necessary compromises, and Ukraine may just become collateral damage in the process.
And in such circumstances, given that his allies and adversaries both are in play, who can President Zelenskyy rely on, and to what extent?
I think that's a difficult question, frankly, because this is the maximum that the Western alliance can do for Zelenskyy. Zelenskyy has got the missiles, the long-term missiles he wanted. He has got the authority to strike deep inside Russia. Russia, in response, has retaliated with intercontinental ballistic missiles, telling Zelenskyy, you do it again, we will now hit parts of Europe. There has been a lowering of threshold of the nuclear doctrine by Russia, which is very serious. So I really am hard put to answer your question as to where Zelenskyy can turn, which is why I think Zelenskyy is talking peace. This is the first time Zelenskyy has talked peace. This is the first time he has admitted that he may not be able to get back all the territories that belong to Ukraine. In response, I think he is still trying to hang on to the NATO thing. But I don't think, as I said, it's a non-starter, because that is originally the reason why Russia invaded Ukraine. So I don't think, as what I'm trying to say is, it is Ukraine's possible NATO membership that was the casus belli on which Russia intervened in Ukraine. So you cannot really go back to Putin now and say, you please accept it and Ukraine will be part of NATO. It's simply dead on arrival.
Right. And finally, Ambassador Kumar, when this conflict ends and how it ends will have the potential to reshape geopolitics of the region and the world.
Absolutely. I think in the first instance, it will reshape the security architecture in Europe. My sense is that Russia will have to be part of that security architecture. If you do not include Russia as part of that security architecture in Europe, it will again just be a freezing of the conflict, and the conflict will again erupt in 2 to 3 years' time. So I think Trump and his colleagues will have to take a long and hard look at what are Russia's legitimate security interests. As the point has been made by a number of people, will United States accept that missiles are placed by Russia either in Mexico or in Canada? Obviously not. So I think somebody will have to take a good look at what is Russia's reasonable security interest and try to understand and meet that interest. It is only then that you can have and you can construct a stable security architecture in Europe.
Ambassador Mohan Kumar, appreciate you joining us on the NewsHour and sharing your perspective. Let's now take a look at other stories making news today. Strengthening the India-Italy maritime relationship, India's Union Minister of Ports, Shipping, Waterways Sarbananda Sonowal met Italy's Minister of Enterprises Adolfo Urso on Saturday. The meeting aimed at deepening bilateral relations, and Italy remains among the top trading partners of India. Bihar is hosting an agricultural exhibition in the field of farming by introducing Agriculture Roadmap. The Agro Bihar 2024 is a 4-day exhibition organized to spread awareness among farmers and common people about agriculture. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar inaugurated Day 1 on Saturday. Indian Naval Academy held its passing out parade in the town of Ezimala in South Indian state of Kerala on Saturday, with 239 trainees graduating with flying colours. Marking the successful culmination of their ab initio training, the trainees marched in a spectacular manner with gleaming ceremonial swords and rifles. The passing out trainees included 8 foreign cadets from 4 countries and 29 women trainees. The Betab Valley in Anantnag district of Jammu and Kashmir received fresh snowfall on Saturday. The fall enhanced the picturesque beauty of the region. Snowfall has amplified the scenic charm of this remote area, attracting tourists to its stunning landscapes. Still to come on DT India NewsHour. 10th edition of India International Science Festival 2024 kickstarts in IIT Guwahati. India's national broadcaster Doordarshan announced as official broadcast partner for Hockey India League 2024-25.
We are living in times where things are changing at an unforeseen pace. And at the forefront of many of these positive changes are strong individuals who are looking towards the future.
Through the stories I tell, I try and sort of reignite that intuitive sense of how close we are to nature and how much there is to learn from it.
Organic farming, it also helps you not only reduce the carbon footprint, but also help adapt because you are promoting natural farming.
Very lightweight, but it makes you feel that you don't have to eat too much. In this NFT channel, we use net cups with cocoa peats on it. This helps to penetrate the roots. There will be nutritious water flowing through the channel that supplies essential nutrients for the plant.
You're watching DT India NewsHour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. The India International Science Festival 2024, organized by Government of India, is being held from November 30th to December 3rd at IIT Guwahati campus. The purpose of the festival is to celebrate achievements of science through its creative programs and activities.
The 10th edition of India International Science Festival 2024 was inaugurated at the Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati, in the northeast Indian state of Assam on Saturday. The 4-day event from November 30th to December 3rd is being organized by the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, or CSIR, India's premier national R&D body under the Ministry of Science and Technology and the Ministry of Earth Sciences of the Indian government to foster innovation and global competitiveness in the fields of science, technology and manufacturing.
There have been at least 6 landmark decisions, path-breaking decisions, which the world has hailed. A, National Research Foundation's Anusandhan, which was formed just before the election, has been granted rupees 1 lakh crore and we'll have more than 70% of resource from the non-government sources, is going to be a game changer.
The event also aligns with the Government of India's Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat initiatives. The 10th edition of India International Science Festival is a pivotal event in India's scientific and technological landscape.
The IISF is a celebration of our collective commitment to innovation, excellence, and harnessing of science and technologies as powerful engine of growth and prosperity for the nation.
With the theme Transforming India into an S&T-driven global manufacturing hub, IISF 2024 marks a significant milestone as the first edition hosted in the Northeast, emphasizing the Government of India's commitment to expanding the reach of science and innovation to underrepresented regions. This science festival offers interactive exhibits showcasing cutting-edge science and technology, panel discussions with leading scientists and thought leaders, and science competitions to inspire young minds.
It is a Science Kumbh Mela, which we are celebrating over today and over the next few days. This festival has provided a unique opportunity to delve into complex scientific concepts, breaking them down into understandable and emerging discussions, engaging discussions.
There are diverse lineup of themed programs which include Chandrayaan, the Museum of Moon, Science, Technology, Defense, Space Exhibition, Make in India, Make for the World, Global Manufacturing Summit, S&T Hackathons, Young Scientists Conclave, Empowering the Youth, and Mission Startup, Innovation, Technology and Entrepreneurship, among others.
The India International Science Festival 2024 focuses on international collaboration and promises a transformative celebration of science and technology that's going to shape India's journey towards a more innovation-driven and a sustainable future. With camera person Kumar Datta, Amit Mukherjee in Guwahati, Assam for DD India.
The Media and Entertainment Association of India, MEAI, with Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, hosted the vibrant VAM, Waves, Anime and Manga contest at IIMC Delhi. The event celebrated India's creative talent in manga, anime and webtoons, drawing enthusiastic participants and fans.
The Media and Entertainment Association of India, in collaboration with the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India, successfully hosted the electrifying VAM or Waves Anime and Manga contest in Delhi. Held at IMC, this latest installment of VAM drew an enthusiastic crowd and showcased the immense creative potential of India's manga, anime and webtoon creators.
This is very helpful, and I am so happy that Government of India is taking this initiative. I'm a voice actor since 4 years, and I'm into advertising and commercials.
Waves has created a lot of waves in, at least that's what I see in Delhi right now and the entire nation, and I'm sure the momentum will catch on to the world as well. There's a lot of creativity. We know that there's a lot of potential with the young, with the youth of the country, and I'm sure once everybody can see it, when the talent comes out here at Waves, people globally will recognize it, and this talent will go places.
Waves, it's a first-time initiative taken by the Government of India. So we are sure that because when Government of India takes something and puts it on the global stage, it is definitely going to happen in a big scale. So as a studio owner, we also think the same, that we can fetch a lot of good talent from all the part of India, and maybe in future they can work with us and can take Indian stories to the globe.
One of the ways that we are working on this is that we are creating the creators along with the publishers. We are also connecting artists with the studios. For example, we have had one artist from Bhubaneswar and one artist from Varanasi who have already been given job offer by studios who have seen their work at VAM. Apart from this, we are tying up with a lot of platforms such as Toon Sutra for Webtoons, and they have already told us that the winners of VAM Finale will get the opportunity to distribute their content on their platform. So we are helping people build their IPs, we are helping people monetize their IPs, and at the same time, we are connecting the artists with the studios or the producers.
Building on its success in Guwahati, Kolkata, Bhubaneswar, and Varanasi, WAM Delhi featured 199 participants across categories including manga or the Japanese-style comics, webtoon or the digital comics, and anime, Japanese-style animation. The event also hosted 28 vibrant cosplay and voice acting participants, bringing beloved anime and gaming characters to life. Tapas Bhattacharya's report for DD India.
Time now for all the action from the world of sports. Let's talk about hockey. India's national broadcaster Doordarshan has partnered with Hockey India League to make hockey a household celebration in the country. Hockey India League is set to commence on 28th December this year. This year's edition is historic as it marks the inaugural season of the Women's Hockey India League alongside the much anticipated men's competition. Renowned for its legacy of promoting Indian sports, Doordarshan will bring the electrifying action of HIL to millions of viewers across the country. The league will feature 8 men's teams and 4 women's teams competing across Rourkela and Ranchi, showcasing top-tier talent from India and across the globe. Doordarshan's partnership with Hockey India extends to all national championships. Going forward, all Hockey India national championships across various categories, as well as hockey events in India owned by Hockey India, will be telecast on Doordarshan. In the World Chess Championship, India's challenger D. Gukesh played out a safe draw against defending champion China's Ding Liren in the 5th round on Saturday. Both players agreed to draw by mutual agreement after the 40th move. The first player to reach 7.5 points over 14 games will win the prestigious title. India shuttler Lakshya Sen also stormed into the finals on Saturday in the Syed Modi International. Sen defeated Shogo Ogawa in the semi-finals 21-8, 21-14. Earlier on Saturday, Sen defeated compatriot Mirabai Luwang Maisnam in straight sets 21-8, 21-19 in the men's singles quarterfinal. Two-time Olympic medalist and former world number 2 PV Sindhu defeated compatriot young shuttler Unnati Huda in the semi-finals of the Syed Modi International Super 300 badminton tournament on Saturday. Sindhu defeated Huda in straight sets 21-12, 21-9 to storm into the finals. On Friday, Sindhu defeated China's Wang Dai 21-15, 21-17s in the semis. The global governing body of soccer, FIFA, has announced their nominees for the Best FIFA Football Awards 2024. Real Madrid dominate the men's category with 5 players from their current squad, which includes Jude Bellingham, Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., Lionel Messi is the only one playing outside of Europe to be nominated. The women's player category has 7 players that appeared for Barcelona during 2024 after the club swept 4 trophies in the season. The men's coach category also feature an impressive lineup of Carlo Ancelotti, Lionel Scaloni and Pep Guardiola. A gentle reminder, India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati has recently launched Waves, entering the field of OTT platform. Waves provides a complete infotainment ecosystem to digital media and OTT audiences. If you also want great content for free, download Waves today. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India NewsHour. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates on DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan this QR code on your screens to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India NewsHour. Namaskar.